Howdy. How's everybody doing? I put up little videos here and there. I put up a pretty big one recently, and I was gonna, chill for a while because I feel like if I throw a lot of stuff out there, like a lot of it gets passed by. But a friend of mine who's very inspirational to me at this point, you know, he encouraged me, put out whatever you think needs to be heard, educate. Fair enough. We're gonna do this super simple. This is all about just thinking. I just want to just put stuff out there and you decide. I often think when you tell people how it is, there's a lot of defense towards that, and it doesn't get through sometimes. I used to go about that way all the time, and it's like sometimes you hit a brick wall. So I'm just ask questions and then you decide, whatever. Right? Alright. Rescue. What does that word mean to you? Rescue. If a fireman runs into a building and it's on fire, person inside's going to die, and fireman goes into the building, pulls the person out, and then that person goes to a paramedic, gets a little oxygen, then goes to a hospital, evaluated, alright, minor burns, little smoke inhalation, good to go. Who rescued that person? Who saved them? So it's like this. Someone takes an animal from the streets, from a backyard, from an abusive owner, from a fight rink. That animal, instead of staying with that person that took them out of that situation, let's say that animal goes into a shelter. Then from the shelter, that animal goes into a rescue. The rescue pulls the animal from the shelter. And then somebody adopts that animal from the rescue. Now, outside of the rescue being called a rescue, who really saved the animal? Who rescued the animal? And this is a very sensitive subject for a lot of people, because ultimately, if you really come forward and are truthful with yourself, I can understand how it could be offensive to a lot of people. Like, let's say you as an individual go to a shelter and you adopt a dog out of a shelter. You adopt a dog that may or may not end up being put to sleep. Do you really want to hear that you didn't save that dog? You didn't rescue that dog? No, of course. Of course. That hurts. But let's just think about it rationally and honestly. Did you save the dog? No, because the person who took the dog out of the situation saved the dog. If they hadn't done that, you wouldn't be able to adopt the dog. And that's what you did. You adopted the dog. You gave it a home, which is commendable. We need you. We need you. You are relevant. I love you. Okay. If a dog is on death row, meaning it's time stamped to be put to sleep. Now this is going to be touchy. A lot of you are going to want to argue it, whatever, but I'm just putting shit out there. You decide whatever you want. I'm just telling you what I have experienced. If the dog is on death row and time stamped and a rescue pulls the dog from the shelter, did they save the dog? Tricky, huh? It's like, yeah, they did save the dog because it was going to be put to sleep. Well, here's how I see it. The person who brought that dog into the shelter from whatever situation in saved the dog. Period. You can't re-save a dog. It was brought into a shelter. Shelter. Safe, whatever. Let's not say that the rescue saved the dog. Let's say something much darker, but honest. Let's say that, and this is going to be, I understand why people hate me. The truth hurts, and I don't see it any other way, and it's fine, hate me, but here it is. Let's say instead that the animal welfare organization the shelter was in, because that's what shelters are for, animal welfare, right? Let's say that organization put a dog in harm's way that forces a hand to remove the dog from the shelter. It's a weird way to think about it, I understand, but, you are, as a rescue, if you're pulling from a shelter, yes, you are stopping that animal from being killed. Hands down. No argument. Yes, you are very relevant. You are very needed. I love you. But did you rescue the dog? No. No. This term rescue is thrown around so poorly that it does a disservice to every single person involved. I mean, I'm offended by it, but it's not about me, or it's not about just me. It's about others like me. It's about other rescues. It's about advocates. It's about animals. It's about all of it. That term rescue, thrown around the way it's been thrown around for the past years or whatever, it's so misleading to this point that you have 501c rescues that can't trust other 501c rescues because just because you got the word rescue behind your organization name doesn't mean you're really rescuing. Right? Like, what if you're I'm just going to touch on a subject. I'm not going to put anyone on blast yet, but it's coming. What if you're a registered 501c rescue in Delaware County, where I currently live, and all you do is cherry pick the easy dogs, or you go around to yard sales and pick up puppies so you can flip them? And the dogs that you do pull that are difficult to handle and you can't get a hold on them, you have them put to sleep. Or you report that they've been homed on your page, but yet they were put to sleep. How can another rescue trust you? How can advocates trust you? And that shit happens. And there's definitely one rescue in particular that I am definitely talking about. And your day is fucking coming. Trust me. Anyway. The term rescue. It fucks everybody up. Who do I donate to? Who do I trust? Here is the only thing you need to do if you want to know if you're dealing with a really solid rescue. You only have to ask three questions. The first question you want to ask is, do you physically take animals, not specific, animals. It's like a two-part question, I guess, but one question. Do you physically take animals yourself off the streets and out of situations? Question 1. The second question you want to ask is, do you have a facility? The last question you want to ask is, I don't even know if I should say this or how to word it. Well, let's go back to the other two. All right. Question 1, if the rescue's not taking animals off, fucking computer's doing whatever it wants. If the rescue's not taking animals off the streets themselves, physically going out and saving animals, that means that they are only pulling animals from shelters. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not relevant, not important, blah, 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 blah. Just understand what they do. Because in that, if that's how that organization functions, that means that there is potential there for them to be animal specific, breed specific, or just straight up cherry picking. That's not advocacy. That's not rescue. There's no boundaries on advocacy. It's like saying I like pasta, but I don't eat raviolis and I don't eat spaghetti. Well, do you like fucking pasta or not? You know what I mean? Put that in there for you, Mr. Kino. It's not specific. You know what I mean? Like I'm an animal advocate. That means whatever animal. I'm animal rescuer. Whatever animal. So, back to the question and the answer. If they say no, they don't take in strays or pull animals physically off the streets, that means they're getting from the shelter. Now you have to ask more questions or look into their rescue to see if they're breed specific or cherry picking, etc., etc. And you can go on and on from there and just chances are the further you dig, the more they're going to fall apart. That's the unfortunate part. The second question, do you have a facility? Now, do you have to have a facility to be a rescue? No. But if question 1 goes awry and you don't have a facility, pretty obvious. I never had a facility. I used the houses that I lived in as my facility and fosters. But still a home-based rescue. But I did and do Only street rescue with my hands. Only. I've pulled dogs from shelters maybe 4 of them in 11 years. That's it. And lo and behold, when I pulled them from shitty Philadelphia act, it was nothing but drama. Nothing but drama. Never had a harder time saving a fucking animal in my life. That's another story I could tell maybe somewhere down the line. So, those two questions are relevant of each other, you know? You kind of gotta, look around and figure out. And then, the third and last question is, how many animals do you adopt out in a month? I've never done a higher volume than a dog a week. It's just, it's not impossible to do that more a week as an individual, but it's not safe to do more than one a week as an individual. Wow. And even a week, depending on the dog, might not be enough time. You should be handling this dog, pushing this dog in certain ways to see what it's reactive to. You got to be 100% certain on all things. You're going to give this animal to a person who may not be experienced, and definitely is probably not as experienced as you if you are a true rescuer, trainer, handler. So, one a week. So you give leeway and you say 4 to 6 a month. 6 being very high volume in a month. 4 being about right. Anything lower is obviously healthy. That's what you need to know, or what you should be asking when you're giving money to these places. Not just blindly give it to them because they posted a picture on Facebook of the kitty cat that they saved. Or, no, I'm sorry. Can't even use that word. Excuse me for 1 minute. I gotta do something here. Because I know I can't see me. And there you go. Alright. Hey. Hi. I know, scary, right? Ugly motherfucker. Sorry. My mom made me. Blame her. Anyway. You gotta handle these animals, Oh, sorry. You can't just, you gotta ask questions. I would ask these questions, because you can't just go by a Facebook post that shows you a kitty cat that was in a cage, and then it shows you, in the new home, it's beautiful. That doesn't tell you anything. If you just look at that and you go, oh my God, the rescue pulled the cat, they saved the kitty. No, they didn't. No, they did not. First of all, if they pulled it from a shelter, did they save it? I think we already went over that. Second of all, what was the adoption fee? Yeah, I can't even get in. I don't even want to get into adoption fees and shit. It's, holy Christ. You people are fucking insane. That's another thing you can ask. You can ask what their adoption fees are, what the ranges are. A decent rescue, in my opinion, the fee would be based on only the money invested in the animal. That's it. I can tell you how much I've charged on every animal that I've ever adopted out. And I don't give a shit if you believe me or not. Go find every fucking person I've ever given an animal to. Nothing. Not a fucking dollar. I've never charged an adoption fee. Ever. And here's why. Because I believe as a rescue or a rescuer, it is your job to severely screen the person you're giving this animal to, so that you are 1,000% sure that it is the right home for said animal. So if you do that, then what becomes true is that animal is going to be cared for to the utmost till its last day. Okay, if that's true, how much money is said person's going to invest in that animal over time? Bags of food, vaccination updates. I'm probably going to have to go to the vet for something eventually, go and get a little sick here or there. And then I would assume if you peg the person right, when the animal passes, they might want some kind of memorabilia. You can spend thousands of dollars on one animal in its lifetime. Thousands. Why the fuck am I going to try to tax you $150, whatever, for some vaccinations and deworming and a fix? But yet you can see adoption fees $300 and up. What? I mean, I don't even know if I should put this out there because it'll probably encourage some bad shit, but let's just be honest. I can go to Philly right now and get a puppy for $50. It won't be fixed, won't have its shots, and it'll need to be dewormed, but shots for a puppy are about $20 to $40. Deworming's another $30, $40. And then when it's of age, getting it fixed, $80, $100, I spent like $200, How are you, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to charge an adoption fee, it should be reflective of what you invested in the animal. Only. Like, keep track of it. That would be a proper rescue. If you wanted to adopt an animal from a rescue and they handed you like receipts of what was done for the animal, and then the tally of them was on the last page, and that's the fee. Whatever that fee is, you can't argue it. There's nothing more proper. All that rescue is trying to do is recoup what was invested in that animal so that they can put it into another animal. Anyone that does that, awesome. But who the fuck does that? Very few people. Very few rescues. I'm trying to get across to as many people as I can that you need to start really, really paying attention to these rescues. The problem is that it's become known and apparent to people who aren't really advocates or into animal welfare. It's become known and apparent to them that they can make money off of exploiting these situations and these animals. They can make a living off of it. You know what I mean? I go back to the rescue that I haven't named yet that I was referring to in Delaware County that likes to flip puppies and blah, 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 and cherry picks and puts down the hard animals, then reports that they were adopted out. All this shit. This rescue is going to be shut down, guaranteed. But anyway, this person just bought a car, went on vacation. Like, how? How are you doing that? The only way you would be able to do that as a rescue is if, like, you hit the fucking lottery or your rescue ended up on TV or some shit. If you're a real rescue, You ain't got money like that. You're too busy investing it back into animals. Like I know a few people, like myself. James Keno, Jeannie Nutter, Dave Seaman, he's like the cat maniac. Joyce Baldassery, I hope I said her name right. Amanda April, she's the future. She's got some learning to do, but she's the future. I know some people that if you gave them 50 grand, if they hit the lottery, 80% of it or more would be spent on animals. They would go get a facility, buy acres, a farm. You know what I mean? I have a friend Dee out in California. She's going to open an animal sanctuary. That's going to happen, guaranteed. Like, these are the people you want to get behind. Because if you donate $100 to that person's rescue, 100% of $100 is going back into animals. 90% of the rescues in this country cannot say that. It just doesn't happen. And you can see it. It's like, I'm not like some investigative reporter or whatever. Like, I'm not a, hacker genius. It's fucking, you can see it. Just look around. Look on their pages. Look at the animals they take in. Look where they get it from. Look what kind they take in. Look at their volume. Then look at them, how they live, what they have. It's very apparent. It's very obvious. And yeah, we could go around and investigate each one and pull all the skeletons out of closets and file with the IRS and file with Department of Agriculture and have them investigated, blah, 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 and have them shut down. It would take forever. It would take forever. What would be much easier is if the public got hip to what rescue really means. If you really, really, really understand what rescue really means, then you take that meaning, you take it with you when you see a rescue that you think you want to financially support and apply it. Does it fit or not? If it doesn't fit, don't donate. Let them drown. Because if you let all these fraudulent rescues, I don't even like calling them rescues because they're not, but if you let them drown, a lot of people will try to, oh my God, the animals, then what's going to happen? More animals will get saved. They'll go into better homes. Less animals will die because real rescuers will have that much more support. So you just have to just ask questions and look around. If you don't want to research, you don't want to take the time, 3 questions. You got a facility? You take animals off the street yourself? How many animals you adopt out in a month? 2 of those 3 got to come up spot on. If not, they're bullshit. It's plain and simple. You can try it, test it out. You know what I mean? The term rescue is thrown around too loosely, and it's a disservice to all animals, all true advocates, in the entire animal welfare community. It's a disservice. And we really, really need to. Everybody goes nuts because my dad came home. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Cracker Barrel.
I'm in the middle of something.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It gets thrown around too loosely, and it's a disservice to all animals, all people involved, everything, and it's hindering us. We could be doing so much more. We really could. But like, yo, like, when you're not supported, you're not supported. You know? I learned the hard way. I didn't do what John Keno does, and that's a smart motherfucker. He doesn't rely on donations. The donations help, and he needs them, but he doesn't rely on them. I relied on donations. Stupid. Doesn't work. Best way to run your rescue is to have a sister company that funds it, or have enough product and merchandise for your rescue that you have an income. Then the donations are secondary, and it helps you that much more. That's it. That's the secret. But everybody needs to get hip, man. The public needs to know. Transparency. It's a huge thing that's missing in rescue. So much hidden dirt, so much hidden darkness. Horrible. I just learned about... I'll tell you what's going on right now real quick. Now there you go. Now this is a rescue. Again, this is my last point. I'm going to use this to prove what I'm saying. And you, do whatever you want with it. Okay. Blah, 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 rescue. I'm not going to air them out yet, because this is probably going to be a legal matter, so they don't exist anymore. But blah, 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 rescue. They pulled a dog from an SPCA. They pulled it because a true advocate said, I'll take him. I'll work with him. I'll get him home. Now the rescue wasn't even going to pull him. Animal control and whoever was handling the dog tells the advocate, dog's cool, everything's fine, he's a good dog, blah blah blah. All right, fine. This advocate, rescuer, real rescuer / foster / mom, finds out that the dog could possibly have aggression issues, but that dog hasn't had a chance to decompress yet, which is why the rescue that pulled him was going to give up on him. And this is what they were going to do. They were going to put him to sleep. How can a rescue put an animal to sleep over behavior and be called a rescue? You will never in a million years get me to agree with that or understand that. It is as wrong could be. Medical issue that you can't overcome, I understand. Which is, it happens, but it's rare. But when you get into putting animals to sleep over behavioral issues, now you're getting into the practice of these shitty city shelters, government shelters, that if the dog's fart smells too bad, they put a timestamp on it. You know, like, you bring a dog. All right, I'm still talking about the same dog, same rescue. The dog gets caught by animal control on a catch pole. That alone sets the dog off. Then it goes into a facility with other dogs, strange facility, and all the dogs are barking. The dog's cortisol levels are already up, skyrocketing through the roof. If you don't know what cortisol levels are, look them up. We have them. It causes the same distress in us. And you put it in a place where it can't possibly decompress, a shelter. Well, yeah, of course, when you bring it out, the dog's going to be reactive. Absolutely. You know what I mean? It has had no chance to decompress. None. Rather than put the dog somewhere that's quiet and safe for 24 hours, leave it alone, feed it, only have one person handle it, you know what I mean? Allow the cortisol levels to drop, and then assess it. Rather than do that, oh, if we take the dog back, I'm gonna put it to sleep. That's what this rescue told this advocate. Now, luckily, the advocate is a real rescuer and a real fucking advocate, and she pretty much told the rescue to go fuck themselves. That's what you do. So how's that a rescue? And this rescue's not the only one. I'm just picking on this one because I dislike the person that runs it. I think that their rescue's a piece of shit. I have so many stories and just a bad one. And it just happened. So I'm just picking on them because it just happened. But they're not the only ones. There's so many, it's ridiculous. Just because we've allowed the word to be bastardized as much as it has, you need to really, really, really understand that. Be careful with that word. Be careful how much you invest emotionally, financially, resourcefully in a word. Because unfortunately it doesn't mean jack shit anymore. But I guess that kind of goes with everything. Is every police officer a good officer? Just because you're a cop doesn't mean that we should trust you, right? That's been proven. You know? Every doctor's clean as can be. You know? Every vet is legit, you know? And on and on and on. These are humans that run these rescues. To err is human. You have to know who you're supporting and what you're supporting. Figure out what rescue figure out what rescue really means. Apply that to whatever you want to support, and if it doesn't fit, keep it moving. Good luck.